What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports, and it's been an absolutely ridiculous start to the NBA free agency. The power structure in the NBA has officially shifted, and you've had over $2 billion in contracts handed out. You've had teams coming in pretty much last minute to sign players, and the biggest story of the offseason, where Kawhi Leonard would play, hasn't even broken yet. It's looking like the Lakers. We don't know for sure yet, but it's been absolutely crazy to start off. And in this video, we're going to recap every free agency signing that has happened so far. And if you don't want to see that part, there's a timestamp in the comment section below where you can skip straight to the stories of the day. And so without further ado, let's dive right into it. And so far, we've had Al-Farouq Aminu sign a 3-year deal worth $29 million with the Magic. Trevor Ariza signed a 2-year, $25 million deal with the Kings. Harrison Barnes signed a 4-year, $88 million deal with the Kings. Boban Bogdanovic signs a 4-year, $73 million deal with the Jazz. Malcolm Brogdon signs a 4-year, $85 million deal with the Pacers. Jimmy Butler signs a 4-year, $142 million deal with the Heat. DeMarre Carroll signs a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Spurs. Dwayne Dedmon signs a 3-year, $41 million deal with the Kings. Kevin Durant signs a 4-year, $164 million deal with the Nets. Rudy Gay signs a 2-year, $32 million deal with the Spurs. Taj Gibson signs a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Knicks. Gerald Green agrees to a 1-year extension with the Rockets with the amount to be announced. And Tobias Harris signs a 5-year, $180 million extension with the Philadelphia 76ers. George Hill signs a 3-year, $29 million extension with the Bucks. Rodney Hood signs a 2-year, $16 million extension with the Trailblazers. Al Horford signs a 4-year, $109 million deal with the 76ers. Darnell House Jr. signs a 3-year, $11.1 million extension with the Rockets. Kyrie Irving signs a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Nets. DeAndre Jordan signs a 4-year, $40 million deal with the Nets. Jeremy Lamb signs a 3-year, $36 million deal with the Pacers. Brook Lopez signs a 4-year, $52 million extension with the Bucks. Chris Middleton signs a 5-year, $178 million extension with the Bucks. Kristaps Porzingis signs a 5-year, $158 million extension with the Mavericks. Dwight Powell signs a 3-year, $33 million extension with the Mavericks. Julius Randle signs a 3-year, $63 million deal with the Knicks. And J.J. Redick signs a 2-year, $26.5 million deal with the Pelicans. Derrick Rose signs a 2-year, $15 million deal with the Pistons. Terrence Ross signs a 4-year, $54 million extension with the Magic. Terry Rozier signs a 3-year, $58 million deal with the Hornets. Ricky Rubio signs a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Suns. D'Angelo Russell signs a 4-year, $117 million deal with the Warriors. Mike Scott signs a 2-year, $9.8 million extension with the 76ers. Garrett Temple signs a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Nets. Klay Thompson signs a 5-year, $190 million extension with the Warriors. Jonas Valanciunas signs a 3-year, $45 million extension with the Grizzlies. Nikola Vucevic signs a 4-year, $100 million extension with the Magic. Kemba Walker signs a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Celtics. And Thaddeus Young signs a 3-year, $41 million deal with the Bulls. And for our 3 major stories of the day, we're going to start with the ones involving the Boston Celtics, and it's Kemba Walker agreeing to join the Celtics on a 4-year, $141 million deal. Terry Rozier will be heading to Charlotte on a 3-year, $58 million deal, and Kyrie Irving will be joining the Brooklyn Nets on a 4-year, $141 million deal, although it is rumored he may be taking a pay cut. And I know for sure that the Celtics and Hornets will be engaging in a sign-and trade for their signings to go through, but I'm not sure if the Nets will be involved because they're able to sign Kyrie through cap space alone. And so the Celtics will reportedly be doing cap gymnastics despite losing Al Horford to the 76ers. After they do this, they will still have access to the full mid-level exception that will allow them to spend just under $10 million on a new player, which will likely be a big man. And let's stay on the Celtics for a while and analyze this move. They'll be moving on from Kyrie Irving and Terry Rozier and bringing in Kemba Walker, a player who is very similar to Kyrie Irving, but a player who I believe will buy into the Celtics system and philosophy. Brad Stevens has shown the ability to elevate guards to new levels, i.e. Isaiah Thomas and Terry Rozier, and I think that Kemba Walker will be the next guard in line for Brad Stevens to do that to. And now when you look at the Celtics roster, yes, they have a glaring weakness down low that needs to be addressed immediately, and that's why having the full mid-level exception is critical because it allows them to target guys like DeMarcus Cousins, who I don't expect to get any long-term big payday offers. I believe he'll sign another 1-year prove-it deal between $7 and $13 million. The Celtics can also target guys like Willie Cauley-Stein, Enes Kanter, Jordan Bell, and players like that. They can also bring back Marcus Morris due to the fact they own his bird rights. And once you factor all that in, this Celtics roster will start to look more complete. Moving on to the Charlotte Hornets, this was a move to replace Kemba Walker with the best player they can realistically get a hold of, and I think this is the perfect situation for both parties involved. When you look at Terry Rozier's side, he gets paid handsomely and gets the opportunity to show what he can do as a starting point guard. In the Hornets, if they believe this is a guy who can play at a high level at the point guard position, $58 million over 3 years would be an absolute steal. And to wrap this story up, we'll go to the Brooklyn Nets, who will be putting Kyrie Irving with Kevin Durant and DeAndre Jordan, thus making the Nets an official contender in the Eastern Conference starting in 2021, when Kevin Durant is hopefully fully healed and ready to go. It is also being reported that KD and Kyrie will take pay cuts to bring in DeAndre Jordan, who will be getting a 4-year, $40 million deal, and Garrett Temple, who will be signing a 2-year, $10 million deal. And when you look at this Nets roster with a healthy KD, they 100% need to add more forwards, as they don't have any power forwards on the roster right now. But once they do that, they'll be an absolutely tough out in the Eastern Conference. When you look at just how deep this team is, you have Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie at the point guard position. Then you have Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, and Garrett Temple at the shooting guard. And then you need Kevin Durant. You got to find somebody to, back him up off the bench. You need some more forwards. But then you have DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen down low. This Nets roster is looking like a true contender. And we're going to stick around with the Nets just for one more moment, as they will be sending all-star point guard D'Angelo Russell to the Golden State Warriors in a sign-and trade. And the Warriors are already making the necessary prerequisite moves to make this deal possible by trading Andre Iguodala and a top 4 protected 2024 first-round pick to the Memphis Grizzlies in an effort to clear cap space. And the Golden State Warriors really swooped in and stole D'Angelo Russell away, or it seemed like that, because the reports pretty much had D'Angelo Russell in Minnesota, which I thought would have been a terrible move for D'Angelo Russell's career. But the Warriors swoop in and pick up D'Angelo Russell, who will pretty much fill the void that Klay Thompson will leave as he recovers from his ACL injury. And when he comes back, I think D'Angelo Russell will still stay at the 2. Klay Thompson will slide down to the 3, because at the end of the day, he is still 6'7" and an elite defender. And Russell, at the end of the day, is another ball handler who can create for himself and take the pressure off of Curry while at the same time creating for others. I think this is an absolutely perfect pickup for the Golden State Warriors. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, who had an eventful day as forward Nikola Mirotic decided to leave the NBA and go to Spain, signing a deal with Barcelona. They re-signed George Hill to a 3-year, $29 million deal, re-signed Brook Lopez to a 4-year, $52 million deal, re-signed Chris Middleton to a 5-year, $178 million deal, and then signed and traded Malcolm Brogdon to the Indiana Pacers for a future first-round pick and 2 future second-round picks, while Brogdon agreed to a 4-year, $85 million deal. And so, as you can see, they lost some guys that were solid pieces, but they kept the key pieces to their team. George Hill is a valuable veteran guard, and when you add the 1-2 punch of Eric Bledsoe and then bringing George Hill off the bench, it's almost seamlessly. Both guys are very similar. They're both good on the defensive end. Both can score the ball. Both can move the ball around. That was a must-keep for the Bucks. Then you have Brook Lopez, who added a whole other dimension to this offense, whose problem really before this year was that they couldn't really shoot. And so Brook Lopez's ability to shoot the ball and drag the big man out of the paint really helped open it up for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then you have Chris Middleton, who was the Bucks' top priority to retain this offseason. He's the second leading scorer, second in rebounds, third in assists. He was an absolute must-keep because he's an all-around guy for this Bucks team. Moving on to the final story of the day, which is the Philadelphia 76ers, who, like the Milwaukee Bucks, had a pretty eventful day. They managed to poach away Al Horford from the rival Boston Celtics on a 4-year, $109 million deal. They re-signed Tobias Harris to a 5-year, $180 million deal, re-signed Mike Scott to a 2-year, $9.8 million deal. And despite all these very good signings, they did lose Jimmy Butler to the Miami Heat in a 3-way trade where they traded Jimmy Butler to Miami, and who got a 4-year, $141 million deal. They received Josh Richardson, and the Dallas Mavericks received Kelly Olynyk and Derrick Jones from the Miami Heat. This is a good deal for everyone involved because the Heat get the best player in the deal and the leader of their team for the future. The 76ers replaced Jimmy Butler with a guy who can knock down shots because remember they lost J.J. Redick to the Pelicans, so getting Richardson was very important, and the Mavericks add depth to their roster. As for the 76ers, this was the best case scenario if they had to lose Jimmy Butler. They bring in Al Horford and Josh Richardson, 2 guys who can come in, be immediate starters. Al will definitely be a starter. But when you have a starting 5 of Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid, this is going to be a dangerous team, and it's a dream scenario for Ben Simmons. And this is coming from a huge Ben Simmons fan. I love Ben Simmons. It's been like that since I first saw him in Mount Vernon. He's not getting a jump shot anytime soon. So they surrounded him with players who will force the defense to play honest and stretch the floor so that he can drive and finish or drive and kick. And so there you guys have it. Every signing from the early free agency period. And now the big question is, where do you guys think Kawhi Leonard will go? I'm leaning towards the Lakers. At first, if you saw my other video where I predicted the landing spots of the top 7 free agents, I was leaning towards the Clippers. But I'm really leaning towards the Lakers right now. I don't even think he's really considering Toronto anymore. When you look at how the Nets are looking, the Sixers are looking, and you still have the Celtics to worry about. If he wants to win, he's going to have to go to a team like the Lakers. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'll be looking forward to seeing it. See you there.